from the Bath Township Public Library, and you are watching Check It Out. Now, we took a bit of a hiatus over the summer from doing the Check It Out videos, but we are back this fall, and I'm going to show you some of our new fall picture books. The first one I want to show you is actually perfect for fall in Michigan. This is called From Apple Trees to Cider, Please. This is written by Felicia Sanzari-Chernesky, and it is illustrated by Julia Patton. This is a very sweet rhyming story about a family going to the cider mill and the farm in the fall, and they get donuts and they pick apples and get pumpkins and go to the petting zoo, and you can see all the different varieties of apples and different animals. Like there's a squirrel that takes an apple and is eating it, and the dog's eating an apple. And they go into the cider mill and watch how they make the apples into cider. As you can see, it's light on text. It's a very simple story, got beautiful rhyming text, great for little ones. So not heavy on information, but still some information about how you get from apples to cider and what happens when you go to an apple orchard. And nearly every family is going to take a trip this fall to an apple farm of some sort. So it's a great picture book to read before you go and kind of show little ones, or maybe after you go, and like, look, we did this too. And Julia Patton has some gorgeous pictures. The colors are super bright and vibrant, and this is a great one for story time too. In fact, I will probably read this for a story time about apples. So, like I said, this is From Apple Trees to Cider, Please. A great picture book to enjoy for little ones this fall. Another picture book that is great for fall and little ones starting school is called That's Not My Name. And this is written and illustrated by Anusha Syed. This book, when I saw it and first read it, it really spoke to me because my name is Jana, which is not a common name. It's actually in Swedish, it should be Jana. It's just Swedish for Jane, which is common. But Jana isn't that common here, and so I frequently had my name mispronounced or been asked how to pronounce it, and that is what the little girl in this story is going through. Her name is Mirha, which is Arabic for happiness, and basically, you know, everyone when she goes to school asks her over and over again how to say her name and what is her name, mispronounces her name as Maya or Mira or Mina, and you know, and she gets really quiet, but then she kind of gets upset, like, no, I want you to say my name. And her mom's right. If people can say names like Tchaikovsky and Beethoven and Michelangelo, they can definitely remember Mirha. And it is okay if you have a hard to pronounce name or a different name or an unusual name to stand up for yourself and say, you know, this is my name and this is how it's pronounced. And to recognize that people all have different kinds of names that have different meanings or different histories in their family or for whatever reason, and you should respect who they are and what their name is and call them what they want to be called. So it's really a great book about respecting other people and learning about other people. That's Not My Name. This picture book is called Odd Bird, and it is written and illustrated by Derek Desierto. Now, as you can probably guess, the odd bird is the tiny little gray one next to all these bright, colorful ones. I've described this picture book to people as kind of reverse rainbow fish. I actually like it, it's not really a reverse rainbow fish as I think a better version of the rainbow fish with a much better message. You have all these beautiful, colorful birds that just love to sit around and, you know, admire each other for their bright feathers, and they don't want to get them messed up and they don't want to go swimming. And then the little gray bird comes, who's odd because he's just got plain gray feathers and he's small, and so they all think he's weird looking because he's not bright and colorful. And of course, then he feels bad and he tries to stick leaves all over himself. But unlike the rainbow fish where, you know, you had the rainbow fish then giving away all of his colors to other people so they could all be colorful, in this story, they more all kind of decide, we don't really care what we look like. That, you know what? It's fine that he's just gray and he's having fun, and they realize they've missed out on all the fun just worrying about what they look like. So they all start having fun and not worrying about what they look like, which is really the best message, that it shouldn't matter if you're brightly colored or not brightly colored or whatever color you are. And you should all be just trying to have fun together and being happy with who you are and what you look like. So it's a lot of fun to read. It's got some great pictures. I really like that you have like the birds on like this solid white background. It makes it great for reading aloud. It's for younger children to really be able to see all the colors. So a fun story with a great message. So the next two books that I want to share are both by authors who really just do it all. They are authors of picture books and easy readers and chapter books and even adult books and some graphic novels. So the first is by Mac Barnett, who you may recognize his name. He does a lot of picture books with John Klassen. Circle, Triangle, Square is part of the series, and that he has done picture books that he's done with John Klassen. He's also the author of several chapter book series, The Brixton Brothers, which is a mystery series about two boys that are obsessed with the Hardy Boys, well, kind of like the Hardy Boys, and also the Mac B Spy Kids, and The Terrible Twos are some funny chapter book series that Mac Barnett has written. And he also has an easy reader series that's illustrated by Greg Pizzoli called the Hey Jack series, which is super fun. But this one is called John's Turn, and it's by Mac Barnett, and it's illustrated by Kate Berube. And at this school, it's about kids that are going to school, and every Friday they have a time where they share gifts, and people can go on stage and share whether they play a musical instrument or sing. There's somebody that does magic tricks at one point. And then it is John's turn, and he is very, very nervous to share his gift and thinks everybody's going to laugh. And because he dances ballet. And so it's really where he's, as you can see, he's very, very nervous because he loves ballet and he wants to dance. But he's also scared that people are going to laugh because a lot of times we assume that ballet is not for boys. But there are many, many ballet dancers that are boys and girls. And boys and girls can both love dancing. And you can see it makes him incredibly happy to dance. And he finishes, and everybody claps for him and is very excited. And this is a great story, you know, that boys and girls can do anything that they want. Boys can dance, girls can play sports, that kind of thing. But also, anytime you're nervous, John's really nervous about sharing his gift and getting up on stage in front of everybody. And we've all experienced some sort of nervousness, and kids too, whether it's just going to school for the first time, they may be nervous, or whether they may be doing something on stage for the first time, like a piano recital, or speaking in front of a class, or anything like that. We all experience nervousness, and this is a great story to share with kids of all ages that may be nervous about performing or being in front of other people. So that is John's Turn by Mac Barnett. Now, I mentioned that I had another one by an author that's really done everything, and you will probably recognize the name Shannon Hale. She is the author with her husband Dean Hale of the Princess in Black series, which is incredibly popular. She and her husband Dean Hale have also written Rapunzel's Revenge, which is one of my favorite graphic novels. It's kind of a steampunky Western version of Rapunzel, where she uses her braid as a lasso, that I happen to really, really love. She also wrote Princess Academy, which was a Newbery Honor book, and The Goose Girl, which is a young adult book. And her first adult book, Austenland, was actually made into a movie not that long ago, I think mid-2000s, I believe. As far as picture books, she writes Itty Bitty Kitty Corn, which just came out with a sequel a little while ago, so that's one of my favorite picture books. by her. That's really funny. This one is called This Book Is Not For You, and it kind of goes along with John's turn about that, is there things that are only for girls or are there things that are only for boys? And this is more talking about books. And I think we've kind of all heard that. Even librarians are guilty of being, I've often heard the phrase, well, girls will read books with boys in them, but boys don't always want to read books with girls. That's not true. You should read about whatever character or story that you like. If you like mysteries, it shouldn't matter if it's a boy detective or a girl detective or a dog detective or whatever you want to read about. If you want to read about robots or sea monsters or science fiction or romance, whatever you enjoy reading is amazing and awesome, and more reading, more books. What can be bad about that? So in this story, the little boy, it also has a bookmobile, which I'm fascinated by. Someday, it's a dream, I'm going to drive a bookmobile. Anyways, Stanley goes to the bookmobile, and it is not the usual driver of the bookmobile. And the replacement librarian in the bookmobile tells him that, he can't read a certain book because it's about a girl. So he kind of just gets quiet and doesn't really understand. But then it kind of goes, well, he can't read a book about cats because he's not a cat, right? And, can't read a book about a robot because he's not a robot, and robot books are only for robots. So, as you can see, we have a cat reading a cat book and a robot reading a robot book. The girl's reading a book about a girl. Of course, the bird's reading a book about a bird. So it just kind of gets more and more ridiculous where they can only read books about what they are, which, when you think about it, is ridiculous. And then they end up finally getting books, and then they're like, wow, let's trade books. And wow, chaos happens. They've all traded books and are reading different books about different things. And then, a dinosaur comes, and he wants to read about ponies because he loves ponies. And at first the guy's like, you're a dinosaur, you can't read about ponies. But, are you going to tell a dinosaur no? So then Stanley works up his courage, and he goes and takes the book that he wants because he wants to read it. And there you have the robots reading about cats, dinosaurs reading about ponies. They're all reading about whatever they want to read about. And they're all excitedly reading. And, who doesn't want to sit in the grass reading with a dinosaur and an alligator and a duck and a bird and a cat and all sorts of things? So, and then the bookmobile man realizes, well, he's wrong. Books are for everybody, no matter what. And they all sit and read together. So, like I said, it's just a really fun, sweet story, and kind of highlights the ridiculousness of saying, well, you can't read that because, you're not a girl and that book's about a girl. That's like saying, you can't read a book about a pirate because you're not a pirate. So it's a lot of fun. All of Shannon Hale's books are a lot of fun. If you have not read, if you have chapter book readers, I highly recommend the Princess in Black series. Older readers, the Princess Academy is wonderful. If you're into graphic novels, definitely check out Rapunzel's Revenge. She has also written the Real Friends series graphic novels, so she has a lot of books out there and is just an amazing author. So check out This Book Is Not For You and all of the other ones by Shannon Hale. This next book is one that I was very excited when I saw it in the bookstore because it is a sequel to Unicorns Are the Worst by Alex Willen, also illustrated by Alex Willen. And I loved Unicorns Are the Worst. Unicorns Are the Worst is all narrated by this little green goblin dude who throughout the story talks about why unicorns are terrible and he hates them. And by the end, he decides, well, unicorns aren't so bad. But then he's like, but you know what's the worst? Dragons. So you knew it was coming, right? So here it is. Dragons are the worst. And, he is going to go throughout the story telling you why dragons are scary and horrible and we should all be afraid of them. And of course, you know, by the end, he decides that, you know, of course he realizes dragons really aren't that bad. Look, they're actually kind of nice and they like him and he likes them. So maybe dragons aren't the worst. So, and of course now we have Beware the Super Stinky Goblin. And he's just a really funny character. And coming in December, I believe, our Yetis are the worst. So that is definitely one that I will be purchasing for the library and probably for myself because I love this series and I love the characters and I love all of the illustrations by Alex Willen. They're just a lot of fun and funny and sure to have little ones up through school age giggling. So that is Dragons Are the Worst, but be sure to check out Unicorns Are the Worst first. The last picture book that I'm going to highlight today is probably the one I am most excited about that I have already read for story time this fall. I love this book. I will probably buy this for myself also to keep. This is called Clovis Keeps His Cool, and it's written by Caitlin Aronson, and it's illustrated by Eve Farb. And as you can see, this story is about a bull in a china shop, and you know, what else can I say? It's a book that that's all like a pun on an idiom. So it just makes it the best thing ever. And the illustrations are amazing. Strange fact, I also collect teacups and teapots, so maybe that's also why it appealed to me. But Clovis is a bull that used to play football, but now he is retired from football and he has inherited his granny's tea shop. There he was on the football field. He had a horrible temper, but now he runs a tea shop for his granny, who is no longer around. And, you know, some of his friends that he used to play football with start teasing him about, you know, being a bull in a china shop and that he, you know, is a wimp and he's working around, you know, serving tea all day. And of course, he's trying to count and keep his cool and stay calm. And, you know, he's even like meditating and doing yoga and, you know, trying to stay calm and not break anything. And throughout it, he's saying this mantra that his granny taught him, like, grace, grace, nothing broken to replace. Which is a lot of fun because he repeats it. So older kids will definitely catch on and can repeat that for you. And he has a cat. I think this is my favorite thing, where he gets upset, so he's going to grab a fluffy cushion to squeeze, and whoops, it's the cat. Don't squeeze the cat. Anyway, so he tries really hard every time to keep his cool. It is not easy. And finally, he really does lose his temper. And everything gets broken. But then, you know, he ends up realizing that, you know, that his granny also used to say that grace, grace, everything broken can be replaced. And so he decides that he's not going to be angry with them anymore, and he's not going to take his temper out on them. And he invites them back to his tea shop, and they all have tea. And I think then his friends, well, they weren't his friends then, I guess, because they were being kind of mean. But they all really realized that they were in the wrong to tease him. And they come back and they help him fix everything. And he goes back to occasionally playing football. And then they also all do yoga and drink tea together in the tea shop. So, like I said, it's just really, really funny. I still just like every time I think of it as a picture book about a bull in a china shop, I want to laugh. And I love the illustrations. I love Clovis. He's just got so much character. And his expressions on every page are just so alive. You can just tell what's going through his head and what he's thinking. So this is a really, really fun one. It's also a great one for kids that lose their temper. And we know, well, everyone loses their temper, but we know that there are those kids that really, really struggle with losing their temper and keeping calm. And so this is a great story to share about learning to stay calm and not lose your temper and get super angry where you might break something or hurt somebody. you know, for kids that maybe need some help managing those emotions. So this, I think, is my favorite book that has been recently published. Definitely my favorite new one that we have this fall. So be sure to check out Clovis Keeps His Cool. So thank you for watching. Check it out, our fall picture books, and be sure to stay tuned, and we will have more Check It Out videos about what's new for adults and chapter book readers and teen also. Bye.